Alright guys, just a little update. I got the PTO selector lever off. Bought some roll pin punches today and I pounded that out just now. I did take off you can see the two bolt holes there and there. That is for the diff lock operation. The parts were rusted solid. They were seized, so it was inoperable. I did check this plunger here that engages the diff lock, and that is working free. This bar right here is for the brake. So when you push the brakes, it locks both the wheels. Also, let's see what else. Well, I got the dash tower off. I ended up cutting the dash off the tractor. It was cracked anyway, so junk. It was no good to me. I wanted to, in order to get the dash tower off, I have to pull the steering wheel off. Well, the steering wheel was so rusted on to the steering shaft here, I couldn't get it off. This, I guess, gear or whatever you want to call it goes on this here, and the steering wheel is molded around the outer splines here. I got a pulley puller. I borrowed one from a friend, and after multiple attempts of trying to pull it this way and push it that way and different things, I finally said screw it. I got my angle grinder out with a cutoff wheel on it. I literally just cut the steering wheel to pieces, and then what I did is I took my MAPS gas torch, heated up the steering wheel, heated up this I want to call it like a bushing, but it's not a bushing. So anyway, I heated up what was left of the steering wheel around this, and I ended up pulling the steering wheel plastic off this, and I was left with this in the steering shaft. So then what I did is I got a snap ring pliers, and I went from the bottom of the dash tower. This is the bottom, so this is the top. I'm not sure how well you'll see this, but so that's kind of how it sits on the tractor. The bar right there that I'm pointing at is for the throttle control. But anyway, I took my snap ring pliers. Sorry about the shaky camera. I took my snap ring pliers and I went in the bottom here. I pulled the snap ring out that was in there, and then I was able to pull the shaft out, and I couldn't get to the snap ring because I couldn't see it when this was mounted to the actual tractor frame. So I pulled that out, was able to pull the steering shaft out, and then pulled the other snap ring out off that way along with the washer assembly, and then I took this and I put the steering wheel nut on it here, and I set that, I set this on the ground, so it would have been like, I'm trying to do this through the camera, so I set it on the ground like this, and then with this gear, or this bushing through this here, I took one of those punches there, and I had to hit it pretty hard. You'll see here, those spots right there, like I actually broke and smashed up the gear or the bushing or whatever pretty good, trying to get this thing off, and it finally came off. And I had put, different guys use different things, but I got some PB Blaster. So I had put PB Blaster in this thing for 2 days, twice a day, like I said, for 2 days. There was nothing. It was not budging at all. So I had to do what I had to do to get it off. Like I said, the dash tower the dash assembly had to get replaced because it was cracked and just kind of floppy. So it is what it is. kind of a last resort thing. I also I did place an order through Deere this afternoon, and I ordered some new bushings. Not that there's probably anything wrong with these, but they do seem a little wallowed out. So I got these plastic bushings coming for this tilt steering mechanism here for the steering shaft. Got the wiring harness out. My plan now really is I have to wait until the frame, my replacement frame gets here, because what I have left in here is the steering valve, which is right there, and right here is the mower deck lift assembly. I'm not going to use the mower deck on this tractor because I have a tractor with a mower deck on it already, but I want the ability to have it on there should someday I find a deal close for a 60 mid-mount blade, or I want to put the mower deck on this tractor for whatever reason. I can go ahead and do that. So I have to take that off, and I have to take the steering valve off, but I'm not going to do either of those until I get the new frame, because I want to take them off and literally just transfer them right onto the next one. And in doing so, then I can take it off and literally like bolt pieces back on and zip tie hoses, you know, correctly, like this blue high pressure hose is zip tied, you know, to this piece here. Not that it makes any big difference, but I like to be able to look at something, you know, or have it fresh on my mind when I take it off the tractor. This other bigger stuff is pretty self-explanatory on how it goes, so that's not a major concern for me. It's all this tedious little stuff, these springs and that kind of thing. I want to make sure I get that all 100% correct the first time. I am going to have to go ahead and take the oil cooler assembly off, so that's what that is there. There's a line that runs to here, that's what that black one is, and then there's another one that runs to that steering valve assembly. And again, these two bars here are for cruise control and for the parking brake, so I'm going to make sure I get those correct the first time as well. Otherwise, a couple miscellaneous safety switches there, and there's one on the other side. I believe that's the RIO one. You guys can probably guess what I'm going to do with that one, and we're going to leave it at that. So, because it is in working condition, and I'm going to choose to do something else with it. So that's all we're going to talk about with that one, because I know people get upset when they talk about that. In the order for Deere today, I also did order a new four-wheel drive boot and hose clamp for that. Boots for the steering cylinder, because the boots are gone on that, or at least one of them is, so I'm going to replace both of them. And I'm going to paint the steering cylinder, because it does have some rust on it there. So I'm just going to clean it up. Probably going to take the axle off, the front axle off after the new frame gets here, because I want to be able to take the frame, the new one, set it on some sawhorses. I'm going to put my floor jack underneath it with a block of wood, and then I can wheel this one out of the way. And then I'll just take my 45 loader and pick the other one up and set it on the sawhorses and be able to transfer this stuff out onto the new frame. I do want to paint the front axle, and I do got to paint a spot on that new frame where the battery goes. Like on all of them, they kind of rust right there. So otherwise, I got a new height adjustment knob coming, because I had to destroy that one. It wouldn't come off, so I'm like, whatever, I got to get this thing apart so I can keep rolling on it. So I just broke it off. It is what it is. And that's for the mower deck height adjustment. Like I said, I got the selector switch off, or the lever off for the rear PTO. I got these other parts here kind of soaking in, it's called navel jelly. You get around here, we have Menards or Home Depot. Menards is just like another brand of Home Depot, kind of, but there's some rust in there, so I'm trying to clean that up. And then the parts in there are the parts for the diff lock assembly. So it says says to leave this stuff in there for 5 to 10 minutes. rinse off with fresh water, and then reapply again if any rust remains. So I've used it in the past. It works all right. It's got an aroma to it, and it kind of leaves like almost like a film or something like that on the metal. So you got to really make sure you wash it and get it all clean, and then paint it. Bench is a mess with just random parts. So yeah, really, I do have to order yet, but I'm not in too terribly much hurry for it because, one, I don't really have 3-point attachments. So yeah, but this threaded rod here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but they welded this piece here. I guess there's a bolt, yeah, that bolt or whatever, that broke, so they welded that, but it doesn't turn. So I was actually very shocked when I got the price on this. This thing was like 80 bucks, so I'm like, whoa, we're not gonna order that yet. This pin for the hydraulic cylinder is bent, so I'm gonna order a new one of those eventually. This piece, try and zoom in here, that is the I guess like leveler or whatever for the rear 3-point hitch. You can see it right there. It's welded all like crap on the bottom side there, so that's got to get replaced. That's like 80 bucks. But yeah, really, I mean, I just checked tracking on that frame today. It says it has, excuse me, it hasn't left the shipping facility yet, so I'm not sure where exactly we're gonna be with it, but I'd love it to be here on Wednesday, which would be awesome. Did buy a bunch of paint today. I'm gonna, if the frame's not here Wednesday, I'm going to take this rear axle back outside. I'm gonna power wash it real good one more time. Probably gonna take the tires off of it. Actually, I will take the tires off because I am gonna paint this. But in doing so, when I do take the tires off, I can get into like all the little nooks and crannies, like down in here. You can still see there's all kinds of, well, the lighting kind of sucks, but there's all kinds of dirt in there. There's all kinds of dirt, you know, down in here. So just try and get all the rest of that dirt off, really get some of this like flaked paint off, and then I'm gonna take some Rust-Oleum, like professional grade primer and all that, and paint this thing up. So, but yeah, you can kind of see that's the broken tab on the right side part of the tractor. Yeah, and then all this is like, you know, just bare aluminum, like, you know, cast. I don't want to say it's aluminum, but it probably is cast. You know, same thing on this side. So clean that up. I got some etching primer and stuff, so we'll get it all cleaned up. Kind of same thing with the front axle here. Get that all cleaned up. Yeah, that's about it really, guys. About where we stand with things. Like I said, I'm not going to take anything else off the tractor until you know, that frame gets here. So we're kind of, now we're like literally at a standstill. So I kind of did everything I could today, and that's about it. Yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, I'll update you guys more when I get the new frame. So thanks again. See ya.